So with everything going on right now in New York, with the Knicks being in the NBA Finals, I thought it'd be a cool podcast to talk about the top 10 best sports moments in New York history. And I have a good buddy of mine, Nick, who I went to college with. We won't get into all those stories that we had there, but we're both big New York fans. We definitely don't enjoy the same teams, but I thought it was a good idea. What did you think?
I like it. It just makes me realize how sad our franchises really are.
Yep, 100%. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what fans of New York teams you are.
All right, so I not so much into hockey anymore, but I used to be a Devils fan. Devils. I mean, I don't know when I fell out of hockey, but I would say probably like early 2000s or mid 2000s. I fell out of hockey, but I'm a Dolphin fan, but I do support those Giants. I do. If my teams are always out, my team's always out of it. So I do root for the Giants because they're local. I'm a huge Mets fan. Huge Mets fan. Live and die with every pitch. And Brooklyn Nets, which were the New Jersey Nets, were my team, or still my team, I should say.
So yeah, we're both from Jersey, so we both grew up in the area. Obviously, he roots for a bunch of New Jersey teams. I was a Devils fan growing up as well. Not a huge hockey fan by any means. I think when we got into hockey, for the most part, it was college years, and the Devils are really good. And we'll talk about maybe a little bit about the Devils in today's episode. But to me, everybody knows I'm a huge Jets fan. I'm a huge Knicks fan. And I am a Mets fan. I grew up a Mets fan as a kid. Obviously, when you're a young kid, baseball is like at the heart of everything. So growing up watching the early Mets, I'm talking about the 1980s when they were really, really good, really dangerous. I'll put it that way as well. That was a good time to be a Mets fan. But the way I thought this should work is each of us are going to give you like an honorable mention to our top 10, something that didn't make our list, but something that was really close. So I'm going to let you start. What is your honorable mention here?
I got two.
Okay.
All right. First one, and the reason I put it honorable mention is because even though the moment was epic, it didn't amount to anything. And that was Game 5, 1999, NLCS, the Robin Ventura Grand Slam single.
A drive to right, back to Georgia. Grand slam.
So that's my honorable mention as well. That Grand Slam single was so memorable. It was such an iconic moment, and I love those Mets teams. Mike Piazza to this day, outside of Doc Gooden, is my favorite Met. So that team, I remember watching that game. We were in our apartment in Philly watching that game, and it was just something to behold. It was just unreal, great game. And the way that game ended.
I'll be honest, and I'm a huge Mets fan. I had given up on them, and I think I went to bed because it was 15 innings. I'm like, this team sucks. They're not winning it. And you guys woke me up screaming and yelling because he hit that Grand Slam single. It was incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That definitely made my honorable mention. It was such a great moment. If you're a Mets fan, that team, cast the characters. Obviously, you had Piazza, you had Alfonso, you had Robin Ventura, but Todd Zeile, I believe, was on that team still.
Zeile was the next year. It was Rob. What's his name with the helmet? John Olerud played first.
Olerud. It was Olerud. Okay.
First, yeah.
But again, Al Leiter,
Ray Ordonez.
Yes, a great mix of characters on that team, and such a great iconic moment. So, what's your other honorable mention?
The other honorable mention, and I kind of wanted to put it on the list. But I took something else from that year and put it on the list because it's like my all-time favorite. But Game 6, October 15, 1986, NLCS, the 16-inning Mets-Houston playoff game.
3-2 to Bass. Struck him out.
Was epic. It was crazy. All the most crazy game ever, and still actually regarded as one of the best playoff games of all time. But that game, had they not won that game, I don't think they would have won the series because they had no shot against Mike Scott. No shot.
And they also almost lost this series too. That's the next thing. But that did not make my list, the honorable mention or anything else. My other honorable mention before we get into the entire list was just one of the greatest moments. I don't want to say moment, but greatest catches that I have ever seen in my life, and that's the Andy Chavez catch.
Edmonds at first and 1 out. And Perez deals. Fastball hit in the air to left field. That's deep. Back goes Chavez back near the wall, leaping, and he made the catch! He took a home run away from Roland, trying to get back to first. Edmonds. He's doubled off, and the inning is over.
I was going to put that on there too. It was the NLCS against the Cardinals.
Yes.
And at the time, I went nuts because
Me
that
too.
saved the game. He doubled him up. It was the most ridiculous catch. I mean, it was a snow cone catch. I mean, I didn't even know how he caught it. It was insane.
But what made it more memorable was, one, it's against the Cardinals. And if you grew up a Mets fan, I hate to say it, but the Cardinals always fucking killed us. What's the dude's name? Willie McGee was the other one. Vince Coleman absolutely fucking killed us every year.
Vince Coleman killed us until he came to it, and then he killed us again because he sucked.
Yeah.
He was the worst.
But that was the announcer too. The dude now, what's his name? Gary Cohen. The announcing on that catch was something I will never forget. And that we get to a whole episode just on announcing, because some of the iconic announcing that's been gone on in New York and New Jersey sports is some of the best you'll ever hear. But him making that call on that catch, I'll never forget.
Small side note, I own that piece of the wall from Shea Stadium where he caught the ball. That little section right above the glass, I have it.
All right, so let's get into the list. I'm going to let you start again since you're the guest. What is your number 10 New York sports moment?
You're not going to like this number 10 because you probably have it as one of your top ones, but Joe Namath guarantees victory over the heavily favored Colts, 1969 Super Bowl III.
I get up to the podium and a guy in the back of the room yells out, "Hey, Namath, we're going to kick your you-know-what." And that just, it was just... No, wait a minute. I've been hearing that all week long. I got news for you, buddy. We're going to win the game. I guarantee it.
I think that moment has to be on any New York sports list. Believe it or not, that's my number 8. So it didn't make my top spot, only because I wasn't alive, right? I'm born in 77, so my dad's a big Jets fan. He remembers it, although he was, probably in his early teens. It's a great moment. For anybody who doesn't know the backstory of that moment is that the AFL and the NFL had not merged yet. They decided to kind of two leagues. They decided, hey, let's do one game at the end of the year. The winner of each league come together and play what they call the Super Bowl. Now, Super Bowl 1 and 2, I don't want to say they're blowouts, but it wasn't in hand. And everybody thought the Jets were going to get blown out. And Joe Namath comes out and says, you know what? I guarantee we're going to win this game. They go on to do it. Defense was tremendous in the game. So it just kind of shaped the NFL as we know it. They took the AFL as a real league, and then they eventually emerged later on.
I mean, and the other thing too with that Super Bowl was, I don't think that, I mean, I wasn't around, but from what I understand, it wasn't like, oh my God, this game was great. It was just like, it was an okay game. I mean, the only thing that people remember from that game is that he guaranteed victory.
Agreed. But what made it such a big deal is, one, Joe was such a polarizing figure during that time.
Well, it made him a legend too. It made him, he wasn't that great after that fact too. It's just like, that's what's made him a legend. But
I think, honestly, a lot of people would probably be shocked that that's so low on our list. But don't forget, again, we're both in our late 40s, so we weren't alive for this moment. But we are going to acknowledge it. So I'm going to give you my number 10, and it's something that I remember, and it's sticking with the New York Jets, and that's the miracle at the Meadowlands, which you probably want to forget.
76 is eligible.
Fake to Martin, then a dump, and it is juggled and caught by Jumbo Elliott.
So for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what that is, obviously the Jets are playing. Yep, the Jets are playing the Dolphins on Monday night, 30-7. The Jets are getting killed in the fourth quarter, and they make one of the most miraculous comebacks that the NFL has ever seen. Might be the biggest. I don't know about that. I don't think it is, but the way that game was going, the Jets were awful. Vinny Testaverde all of a sudden starts lighting them up, going up and down the freaking field. They come back. Half the stadium had already left, if not more, by the start of the fourth quarter. And people were filing back in once they found out what was going on. So to me, I remember where I was during that moment. I was in my bedroom at my parents' house. My father was on the couch downstairs watching the game, flipping back and forth. He thought it was over. And for some reason, I did not turn off that game. And I couldn't believe it when they came back and won. My dad is screaming downstairs. I'm screaming upstairs. It's just an incredible memory for me growing up.
That just speaks volumes to how bad your franchises are. When you got to remember one game that meant nothing, but it was a good game. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, did that make your list at all or no?
No, not even close.
To me, it's such a moment that I'll never forget. I had to put it on there, so it came in at my number 10, Bo. I'm going to start off now with number 9. So then we'll flip back to you. My number 9 moment was the Jeter flip in the 2001 ALDS.
That is fair down the right field line. Giambi on his way to third, and they're going to wave him around. The throw misses a cutoff man, shot into the plate, out of the plate. Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop.
Doesn't get hit. He picks it up, throws it to the plate, and nails Giambi at the plate to get him out. That was such a huge moment. I remember everybody talking about it, and I'm not a Yankees fan, neither are you. But I had to put it on there. Something Derek Jeter had to make the list.
I'm not gonna poo-poo Derek Jeter because I think he's awesome, but I don't know what everyone's so obsessed with that play for. I mean, if the ball goes through, he's still getting the guy at home, I think. I don't think it was a big deal.
I don't know. Everybody says that, but I rewatched the play before we did this, and the throw was so far up the first base line. I'm not sure if the catcher could get it, come back, and tag him out. I don't know, but because it's Derek Jeter and because he did it, and we also see him make, falling into the third base, stands, catching balls, because it's Derek Jeter, the captain, and all that he's done for the franchise, I had to give him something on this list. I just could not. And that to me is his most memorable moment. We could talk about the home run in 96 where the fan catches the ball in the stands that they called a home run. But this to me was stood out to me more. What's your number 9 moment?
So my number 9 the game is not significant. The season was not significant, but the moment was, and it was April 22nd, 1970. Tom Seaver strikes out 19 batters in a single game, including the last 9 to face him.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Strike him out. Seaver has 19 strikeouts. Tied the Major League record. The game is over. Brody's out there congratulating him. The Mets are out there congratulating him. What a day for Tom Seaver.
Ridiculous. Tom Seaver, all-time best Mets pitcher. All-time, you know what? Probably the best right-handed pitcher ever in baseball.
That's saying something.
19 batters is just insane.
Yeah, see, I wasn't around for that moment, so I don't have a fondness for it, but I could understand. Tom Seaver is definitely the greatest Met of all time, no question. So I understand how it's on the list.
So at that time, that 19 batters was a record. And his 9 in a row was a record. And I think somebody tied him recently, but.
All right, so let's go to number 8. Let's you start off with number 8 because we already talked about my number 8, and that's Joe Namath guaranteeing Super Bowl victory. Right. So what's yours?
So I'm going to go number 8 with one of my favorite players of all time, September 21st, 2001, Mike Piazza and the 9/11 home run.
Lopez wants it away, and it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
The most ridiculous home. I mean, like, the city was dead. The crowd was dead. He hits this massive home run against the Braves, our arch nemesis, the Braves. Huge home run. The Mets are they're kind of in a pennant race. They're trying to claw their way back. That home run woke up the city. That was a massive home. I mean, when I say massive, this thing was a shot. Like, I'd never seen a home run like that ever. It was insane.
So, believe it or not, that's my number 2 moment in New York sports history. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because of 9/11. It was the first sporting event after the 9/11 attacks. And growing up a Mets fan, to be in that spotlight, the president was there. He threw out the first pitch. Everybody was kind of on pins and needles. If you remember, how would this go? How would people react after what had happened? And for the Mets to be down, like you said before, playing their arch rivals in the Braves, who we couldn't stand, Bobby
Oh, yeah.
Valentine hated Bobby Cox and vice versa. They hated each other. To see them come out, Mets down, when Mike Piazza came to bat, it was like everybody in the stadium was on their feet. Everybody was anxious, and there was no one else that you wanted in that spot because it meant so much, that moment. And I'm getting like teary-eyed just thinking about it. The emotion that came back when he hit that home run. To me, that's number 2, and it's such an iconic moment in New York sports history.
I mean, you said the hatred. There was pure hatred for the Braves. And the one guy, I don't remember this guy, John Rocker. The guy was a lunatic. But he had a hatred for the New York, the fans, everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's my number 2. So I'm going to go now, since I already gave you my number 8 and we're on number 7. My number 7 is something that I think every Knicks fan growing up, whether you're alive at the time or not, is going to be taught about this moment. And that's Willis Reed walking back on the court in 1970.
I think we see Willis coming out. Willis is there he comes right now. 6'10" from Grambling. The captain of the Knicks, the most valuable player of the NBA. Frazier then slows it down, is picked up by Jerry West at the top of the post. Reed.
To give the Knicks their first championship. And he didn't play much after coming back in the game. He played a little bit after that. But the Knicks went on to blow out the Lakers in that series. But it was such an iconic moment, and for the Knicks to get their first title. And unfortunately, they got one in 73 as well. But it's been 53 years after that. But just you could see how important just a leader of a team to come back and give anything he has in an important moment means to a sport, but also an entire city.
So that was my number 4, actually, because I mean, growing up, you've seen that moment a million times. They show it so many times. You hear Marv Albert, his voice just, saying Willis Reed's come back onto the court. I think he scored the first 2 baskets, actually.
Yeah.
He won the MVP, even though probably Clyde should have won the MVP because his number, he had like 36 points and like 19 assists. It was crazy. But I mean, you forget the team. Who did they beat?
Lakers.
And the Lakers were ridiculous. So, like, I mean, it's not only that they won. It's like they beat the Lakers. It's crazy. You're right. 53. We're talking about the Rangers. Rangers had, like, a huge drought.
54 years.
Knicks are right there. The Knicks are right there right now. 53. They got to win this year. If they don't win, forget it.
That was my 7. What is your number 7?
So my 7 is an all-time baseball moment. 1961. We're going back to 1961. Roger Maris hit 61 home runs in the season.
Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow!
Which nobody had even come close to. I think maybe Mantle hit 56 in 1956, but 61 home runs, which nobody thought anyone would ever beat Babe Ruth. Just the amount of pressure the guy had, it was just like one of the all-time moments in New York sports history. So I had to put that on the list.
It's funny. I didn't even think of that moment, but you're right. To this day, that number 61 still stands. I know we had 70 during the steroid era, but if that didn't happen,
even Judge hit, I think 62, right, or something
recently,
and the catcher last year, Cal Raleigh, hit 60. So I mean, like that number now means nothing, but back then it was huge. I mean, nobody hit that many home runs. Now everybody hits home runs.
Yeah.
So like to have 61 home runs is just insane.
All right, so number 6. I'm gonna let you have number 6 to start.
All right. So number 6 is a hurtful one. From May 27, 1994. Growing up a Devils fan, this is Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Double overtime, Stephane Matteau, wraparound goal on Marty Brodeur.
Keyshaw for the Devils plays it cross ice into the far corner. Matteau swoops in to intercept. Matteau behind the net, swings it in front. He scores! Matteau! Stephane Matteau!
And I still remember to this day, because my brother was a Rangers fan, him coming into my room and laughing at me and me beating the crap out of him because I was so pissed off. But that goal and just the iconic call from Howie Rose, Matteau. Dude, it was one of the most stinging. The only thing that cured it was the next year when they won the Stanley Cup Finals, because that was a crushing defeat. Crushing. And that was I'll tell you what, that doesn't happen, they don't win the finals. They don't win the Stanley Cup, because
I agree.
That game was huge. Those were two epic teams, and the Rangers came out that day and won that.
To me, that series might have been some of the best hockey that's ever been played.
I'm telling you, that's what made me a hockey fan. I'm telling you, that series was phenomenal. It was just back and forth. Everything was just like heart pounding. It's just like, it was insane. It was very intense.
And don't forget, I mean, this could be, you got to look at it from the Rangers, because the Rangers are New York, and what they did in that game for Mark Messier to come out and guarantee the win was just wild. So again, that guarantee thing is part of New York lore right there. But incredible moment.
I was going to put the guarantee on the list, but I figured the goal was more important, because he did come out and say, we will win Game 7, which was big, but you had to actually go out and win Game 7, which Stéphane Matteau just shoved it down our throats.
So speaking of number 6, my number 6 is akin to the player I was just speaking about, and it's Larry Johnson's 4-point play in the 99 playoffs.
11 and 9, 10 seconds to go. Ward with a pass tipped but handled by Johnson. Johnson is 3-point territory but guarded tightly. Johnson cuts left, now fires a 3. It is good, and he's fouled. It counts, and he is fouled.
I'm going to set a scene here. In 1999, I'm in my junior. I'm sorry. We're in our second to last year of college, and to see that play, the Knicks down 3, not playing well at that time. If anybody doesn't know, Patrick Ewing had to get hurt right before at some point, I think after the first series in the playoffs, and obviously he was a leader, he was their best player. But that team rallied around all the other players with Sprewell. They were the number 8 seed that year. They beat Miami in the first round on another incredible moment that I didn't even mention on my list. It was just Allen Houston's runner to beat Miami. But they just went into those playoffs hot, confident, and that play, why I had to put it at number 6 is because everybody always shows the reaction of the Garden when he hit that 4-point play. He hit the 3, and then of course then he had the free throw. It's to me, it's the most electric moment that the Garden has ever had. The reaction to that crowd and what had happened, I couldn't even remember another 4-point play before him making that shot. So I had to include it on the list.
I don't remember any 4-point play ever, to be exact. It was the most insane thing. My cousin happened to be at that game. Keeps telling me, he's like, it was the most electric moment he's ever had in his life.
All right, so what's your number 5 moment?
Okay, we got to go back. I'm going back to back here. June 14, 1994. The Rangers erase 54 years.
Borre's going to go ahead with quick hands. McTavish will have to nullify it. Here it is. The waiting is over. The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions.
By winning the Stanley Cup Finals, which was enormous at the time. New York was electric. The parade was electric. The town was just like buzzing. Listen, I'm not a Ranger fan, but it was a moment for New York. It was great. If you remember, I remember, like watching hockey games, and whenever the Rangers were losing, you heard the chants, 1940.
Yep.
1940. When they won, when they were about to win, and the New York crowd was chanting 1940, was like goosebumps. It was. I mean, listen, I'm not even a Rangers fan, but you had to appreciate the moment.
So here's the thing. I'm not a Rangers fan either. I'm not a big hockey fan. And that was my number 1 New York sports moment. Wow. 94 Rangers. Because everything you said leading up to it, the Matteau goal, the guarantee from Messier, 54 years of the Rangers not going and winning a cup, everything that preceded it, and for them to go through what they went through and finally win it. I mean, if you remember 1994 and you were a New York sports fan, the Knicks had also made the NBA Finals. They didn't go on to win it. It's a whole different story. But what that era was like is unmatched to me in New York sports. So the Rangers winning the cup in 94 was my number 1 moment. It's something that I think every fan will remember for the rest of their lives. And it was just so long of a drought. I could not do it because so many great players that came through the New York Rangers organization during that time frame, from Messier to Leach to to Van Beesbrook, to all those guys. Mike Richter was later on. Just unbelievable. And for them to finally do it after 54 years, I could not put that number one.
Well, think about when they won, how it was, how the parade was, how New York was. If the Knicks win this year, this is going to trump it. I'm telling you right now.
So we'll get into that later. I want to bring that up after we finish the list, but I want to give you my number 5, and this might be your number 1 because I know you're a big fan.
I have a feeling, but go ahead.
It's the 86 Mets, Bill Buckner with the ball going through his legs.
3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
How old am I? I'm 8 or 9 years old at that point, and my dad was a big Mets fan. I was a Mets fan growing up, and we'd go to games all the time, just me and him. And I was a huge Mets fan growing up, between Doc Gooden, Sid Fernandez, Keith Hernandez, Wally Backman, Tim Tuffle, Rafael Santana, Kevin fucking Mitchell, Darryl Strawberry, Gary Carter. I can name probably the entire fucking team. Yeah. I mean, Doc Gooden was my favorite, but like that was such an all-time moment of the ball going underneath Buckner's legs and the Mets to go on to win that series because they were going to lose. There was no question in anybody's mind at that point they were going to fucking lose. But to me, I had to put this at 5 only because I was only 8 years old. And while I have a fondness for it, to me, like, I don't think I could appreciate the moment at that time.
I mean, I did appreciate the moment. I mean, I was 9. We were both 9. But
yeah,
they were down. I mean, this was my number 1. This was my number 1 because this is the moment I remember forever. And I'll never forget it.
And that's how sad. You said it before. This is how sad
I'll be honest. If any of these 86 guys like have an appearance, I'm there because that is the team. People remember that 86 team because of moments like this, because of Game 6 in the playoffs. This team was insane. Dykstra, all these guys were all lunatics. So they're down. It's 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. They're losing. They're down to the last freaking strike. Nobody on base. And then they start a rally. And each guy was like, I'm not making the last out. I'm not making the last out. I'm not. And I'll tell you, there was a few times I'm like, dude, Mookie Wilson, he's going to strike out. I'm like, Mookie Wilson, he's going to strike out.
But Mookie, the game was tied already when Mookie came up. So they had tied the game at that point.
Yeah, on a wild pitch of all things. And by a former Met. It was just, you're never going to see that. And I think that's probably the last time people rushed the field was that 86 World Series.
You might be right, yeah.
I tell you what, if they win again, people are rushing the field, believe me.
You get shot nowadays with everything that's going on in this world. So let's get into number 4. And to me, this stands out in my memory as something that was wild, not only on one account, but by multiple. And it's for the New York Giants. And I'm not a New York Giants fan. Everybody knows I'm a Jets fan. But because this happened against an 18-0 Patriots team, it's number 4 on my list, and that's the David Tyree helmet catch.
3rd down and 5. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree.
Everybody hated the Patriots. I've hated them my entire life, but everybody talks about the Odell Beckham catch being one of the greatest catches of all time. To me, that David Tyree's catch was a better catch because of the moment that it occurred in, with the Giants down in the Super Bowl. That to me was unbelievable. I think if you're a Giants fan, that's got to be in your top 2 or 3 moments ever against a team that was 8-0 undefeated, that everybody thought was going to have an undefeated season.
So that was my number 3. You've now nailed my number 4, number 3, and number 1. So, yeah, that catch was absolutely insane. And nobody even talks about. All right, everyone talks about the catch. How about the throw? How about the fact that Eli eluded how many defenders and was like slipping away from guys and got that ball off and got it to him? It was the most insane play in Super Bowl history. The most insane. And it's got to be up there. 2008, Super Bowl 42. I'm telling you. I mean, nobody thought anyone was beating the Patriots. Patriots, as a Dolphin fan, I was waiting for the Patriots to go down because we're the only undefeated team ever. they went down at the hands of the Giants.
I mean, just don't forget the Giants had gone down in that game. The Patriots just came back.
Yeah.
They took the lead, and it was just everybody thought he was down. First of all, there's a little bit of controversy because he escapes that pocket, but they could have blown that play dead. They didn't. He escapes, throws a dart. Tyree catches it on his fucking helmet, not in his hands. Just in between three guys to boot. It was just. I remember where I was. I was at my dad's house watching that game, and it was just like I couldn't believe that he caught that ball. I'm like, what the hell? There's no way he caught that. And they showed a replay, and I was like, what the hell? Unbelievable.
I don't know how he did it. That's what makes things legendary. It's like that. Yeah. The plays like that.
So this is one that it still haunts me to this day. This was a good moment, but there are many bad moments that have occurred because of this team and because of, where they are now. And that's Ewing's putback to send the Knicks to the 94 finals.
Here's Starks. John Starks with the ball. Ewing puts it down. And the Knicks by one. The New York Knicks get into the NBA Finals to go up against the Houston Rockets.
The Knicks, again, couldn't get over the hump of Michael Jordan. Obviously, he had retired, went to play baseball, and the Knicks finally had their chance to kind of make it to the finals. Now, the previous series, don't forget, the Knicks played the Bulls, and there was some controversy already with Scottie Pippen fouling Hubert Davis. Hubert Davis goes to the line after hitting the free throws and to get them to the finals. And again, crazy game, incredibly physical with the Pacers. Ewing comes flying in, puts it back, sends the Knicks to the first finals since 1973. They didn't win it. That's a whole different story. But that moment, I remember watching that, being a huge Knicks fan, and it's still to this day one of the greatest New York Knicks moments of all time.
I'm going to say this. I know it's going to hurt. The Knicks should have won that series.
They should have. They should have won Game 6.
This is what people don't understand. When you have, it's so hard to make it to a finals, World Series, Super Bowl. When you get the opportunity to go, you need to win. Because now look, how many years has this been since the Knicks made it to the finals?
Since the finals, 27 years.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
94 was their best shot. They had no shot in 99. They had no Ewing, no shot.
I agree. I think in 99, if Ewing had stayed healthy, they would have had a shot. I still think
honestly, it would have been closer. That 94, they were up 3-2. There was no excuse. They should have won it. Yeah.
Correct. Game 6.
Starks went cold.
They should have won it. They should have won it in Game 6. They didn't, and then in Game 7, it was a close game, but Starks couldn't hit a shot. So
yeah, Starks went cold. It was terrible. I mean, I feel bad. Listen, I'm not a Knicks fan, but when you have family and friends that are Knicks fans, man, and you just feel for them because that is. Listen, I'm a Nets fan, but I don't have any beef with the Knicks. I could care less because when we've been good, you guys suck. When you're good, we suck. So it's not like we've been competitive at the same time. Very, very seldom.
The problem is with the Knicks especially is that they have been bad for so long until now that it's been really brutal. I'm going to say something right now. Like, out of all my teams, I have one championship, and that's the 1986 Mets when I was 8.5 years old or 9 years old, whenever it happened. To me, that's not enough.
Well, we have the Devils, but
the Devils, yeah.
You're not really watching hockey anymore, so it's different.
Exactly. I'm not a huge hockey fan. You enjoyed that moment, but for a team that I really cared about, the Knicks, the Jets, the Mets, I only got the 86 series. The Mets, obviously went to World Series after the fact. They didn't win it.
They should have won 15 too. They should have won 2000.
I know.
They should have won 2000.
But that's to our point is that it's really hard to either make it to World Series or NBA Finals to the Super Bowl. And when you get there, you have to win because the pain is unbearable. You don't have, especially my teams, they don't have that great player that's going to get you there year after year, like the Chiefs with Mahomes or Tom Brady with the Patriots. All right. So what's your number 2?
Oh, number 2, you're not going to even, I probably didn't even sniff your list, but it's an ultimate feat that very few have accomplished in the world of baseball. One of the hardest things to do in baseball.
I think I know what it is.
It was done on the grandest stage of all. October 8, 1956, Don Larson throws a perfect game.
Gets the sign. 2 strikes, ball 1. Here comes the pitch. Strike 3. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson. Yogi Berra runs out there. He leaps on Larson, and he's swarmed by his
World Series, Game 5. And not only did he throw a perfect game, but he threw a perfect game against the Brooklyn Dodgers with that ridiculous lineup that they had. You know, everyone, like, perfect games are impossible. But especially back then, there were so few teams that the teams were concentrated with talent. Don't look at baseball now with everything's watered down because there's so many teams. That Brooklyn Dodgers lineup had like 5 or 6 Hall of Famers easily. And he mowed them down in the World Series, biggest stage of all, 1956. And it still stands to this day as the only perfect game thrown in the World Series.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it is. I put it as number 2 because obviously number 1 for me was, as a Met fan, Mookie Wilson. But I don't know how. Listen, I didn't witness it, but just to see, like, you don't see perfect games. You just don't. You don't see, and let alone in the World Series, like, it's hard to see a no hitter. Look how long the Mets went without a no hit. I was going to put that on the list, but I'm like, you know what? They sucked. I'm not putting it on the list. This feat will trump anything. That's why I put it at number 2, because on the grandest stage, they won the World Series. On the grandest stage, you throw a perfect game. It just, you can't repeat that.
All right, so my number 2 is the Piazza 9/11 home run.
My number 1 is Mookie. I don't know what your number 1 is. Actually, you did mention your number 1.
Yeah, it was the Rangers winning the Cup in 1994,
which is a good one.
No, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just I had to put something that, even though I'm not a Rangers fan, that it meant something to New York City when I was alive. I find it hard to put something that I wasn't alive being number 1. That's why I had the Jets at number 10 winning Super Bowl 3, because I wasn't around for it. But there would be other people who would probably listen to this and be like, you know what, that Jets Super Bowl should be a lot higher. You know, other things like that should be a lot lower. But regardless, so we've covered all our list already. So I wanted to ask you this, and I think it's a good question with everything that's going on with the Knicks right now. If the Knicks go on to win this NBA Finals, where would you rank it on our list, or would it not be on there?
Honestly, I would have put it top 3 because, number 1, the length of the drought, the streak that they had where they just mowed down every opponent. Honestly, if it wasn't for the refs, I think they probably would have won last night. They would have won. The game was close. I can't believe how dirty this team is, the Spurs. They just, like, punching. They're straight up, like, punching them down the throat, and Knicks can't even. The Knicks, like, they'll barely touch them, and they're calling flagrants against them. It's insane.
Yeah, the Knicks have to win Game 4. If they don't win 4, I think they're in the world of trouble. But I bring it up because I want to talk a little bit about the team, is because I'm putting it number 1 or 2. If they're able to go out and win a championship now, I'm putting it 1 or 2, because if you look at how this team played the entire year and you look at how they played in the first series against Atlanta, something happened after Game 3 where they just went on a tear. And like you said, we're mowing down everybody they faced. They won 13 straight. Now, of course, they're going up a better opponent in the Spurs. But, like, being that this team is unsuspecting, obviously Jalen Brunson is their best player, but there is no true guy. Like, he's that guy, but this team is like, there's not full of stars. There's no Michael Jordan. Yeah. There's no Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and whatever on this team. There's not a bunch of guys. It's a team playing team basketball. And I think it's this unsuspecting run is so out of character. I would say it's a good way to use it. So
I'll make a comp to this. So where you have Brunson as your main guy, but basically everybody else is just like a cast of characters, right? The 2000 Mets, you had Piazza was your guy, but you look at that team, they had no business in the World Series. Those guys, like, dude, Bobby Valentine, hands down, best manager of all time for the Mets, got that team to the World Series. They had a bunch of no names. I mean, yeah, Robin Ventura, but he's no superstar, right? Edgardo Alfonso, great player, not a superstar. Like, all the guys they had, it was just like a hodgepodge of just, like, I mean, you look at that outfield, man. Benny Agbayan. I mean, these guys are like, they were like gone after a couple of years. Nobody ever heard of them.
But that team is still beloved. Don't forget, like, because they made it. That's the whole thing, like, about New York sports, is that if you have a team that's not destined to be great and they do something great, they become legends. If you'd like to become a sponsor here on the Mighty Rewind Podcast, make sure you reach out at the Mighty Rewind Podcast at gmail.com.